is right. Hi guys, Dahlia Deering here, and as always, I am your favorite authorpreneur. I am the owner of Fawn Fables LLC, which you can see behind me. And that is my children's book company, and we are focused on three core principles. One, teaching children how to celebrate their differences together. Two, teaching children about self-love and self-acceptance. And three, helping them enhance their critical thinking and problem-solving skills. In addition, I help people take their ideas from paper to publish, okay? As promised, every time I jump on live, you're gonna get my 30-second commercial about who I am and what I do. So first things first, happy Mother's Day weekend. I'm saying happy Mother's Day today because I probably will not get on live tomorrow during Mother's Day, but I definitely wanted to get on here and acknowledge all of the wonderful mommies that are out there and thank them for everything that they do and have done. Today we have a really special show. I'm super excited. Forgive me, I might fangirl a little. I actually have one of the other authors that I've been following since I've been on here starting learning, and her name is Miss Wynn. And she's going to come on here and she's going to share so much with you guys. And I really can't wait for you to meet her. Feel free at the end of our live to ask questions. But she's really detailed, has a lot of information. So you're going to get the best bang for your click by reaching out to her, following her, looking at her content, and then trying to host conversations with her on your own. So without further ado, I'm going to allow Miss Wynn to come on here, and she's going to tell you guys who she is, what she does, and then we're going to jump into some fun topics on this wonderful Mother's Day weekend. Let's see if we get her on there. She should be coming right up. There she is. Hi.
Hey. Hey, that was a great introduction, by the way. Thank you so much. You know what? I hope that you save this live so I can just play that in the beginning when I do my lives and just, you know what, let you introduce me every time. That was fabulous. Thank you so much.
No problem. I'm very excited, and I always save these lives, so don't worry, they're always up there.
Okay, great.
So tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Yeah, hey everyone. My name is Aurelia Wynn. I do go by Miss Wynn just because it's easier to remember and shorter, and people fumble my name. I've had my name Aurelia for the last 30-something years, and so I just say, just call me Miss Wynn. There's no, people are like, oh my God, like, it's just Miss Wynn. But I'm an author, I'm a publisher, I'm a bookseller, I'm a mama, I'm a lover of Black men. Can I say that? I'm a lover of Black men. I love to read. I love to write. I'm a coffee drinker over tea. And that's me in a nutshell. I'm a California native, but I live here in Texas now. And so it's 101 degrees outside. So I got my fan going and my air will turn on hopefully pretty soon. It's getting warm in here. Yeah.
Okay. So I just wanted to say again, I'm very excited to have you on. And for those who are just joining us, guys, we're on here with Miss Wynn is what she's located, what she is on online, but she is awesome, a powerhouse of information. And some of the things that I love about you, I just want to start off by giving you your flowers before we start, is your ability to be super transparent. As I've been following you, which you probably had no idea was following you until I reached out last week. I've got to see a lot of your journey. I did some research on your page, and you're always on giving really important information. And one of the things that I've learned on this journey that has been super great is to have a reason for people to come to your page outside of what you're trying to sell them. You have to have value on your page. And so one of the things I love about your page is that it is super value packed. You give a lot of information away free. In addition, and one of my other faves is on here, Miss Lipstick by Imani. Hey girl. one of the other things that you do, though, is you talk about the big ventures that you personally have for yourself, your successes,
Mhm.
your failures. Like, I just really, really enjoy that. So that's one of the things that has been super inspirational for me on here. In addition, you have published a good amount of books and you have helped a lot of people, spanning from
Mhm.
people who can't get to you because they could be anywhere from um, incarcerated to being in
Mhm.
person to there's so many things that you've been able to do. So I really wanted to have the opportunity to interview you, introduce you to my audience, and of course we don't have enough time for you to touch on all of the things that you do, but at
Mhm.
least present you as a resource for them, because I really want you guys to follow her. If you have a book, if someone you know has a book and they have tons of questions, of course I answer everything that I can, but I know that this is definitely her brand, her niche, and she would be a great resource for you all. So with that in mind, let's start off and answer this question for us. Why publish a book? Why is publishing a book important?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good question. Why publish a book? Well, I want to say it's about legacy. And I've just been on this unconsciously for the last, I want to say the last, shoot, maybe since my whole existence, now that I think about it. But honestly, legacy, who who do you want people to say you are after you have gone on from here? We know that life and death are a part of life. Death is a part of life. So who is it that you want people to say you are, and what's going to be your proof? Your story. I want to say it's your legacy, but also your purpose. Like, what's your purpose here in life, and how do you want to show that? How do you want to prove that? How do you want to get that message out there? And a lot of times, and it's in different cultures. A lot of times I will talk about, Black culture because I'm a Black woman. But obviously this applies to different cultures. I know, my family, we're a family of storytellers, oral storytellers. Whenever we get together for family time or family events and stuff like that, somebody got a story to tell, whether it's funny or sad or whatever. We're telling stories, but a lot of times they're oral. And it's like, man, I love that, but let's get these stories written down and put into a book so that way when grandma passes away, we still have all of those wonderful stories that she has told. And it can be a collection of stories, because sometimes when people think about books, they think, oh, it has to be just one story, 250 pages long. No, it could be several stories. It's called an anthology. You can write an anthology with several small, short stories that maybe don't have nothing to do with each other, but they are going in one book, right? And so, that's, I mean, yeah, just to, I guess, to shorten up, to answer your question, to summarize it, is to leave your legacy and to take those oral stories and put them on paper. So that way, when you're dead and gone, your family still has something to hold on to you and remember you by.
Okay, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for you as an author and a publisher, what significance does what significance do books, excuse me, hold in your life, both financially and morally and emotionally? What has becoming an author and publisher done for you in both realms?
I want to say education. If I don't know something, my mom would go say, go look it up in a book. What? Okay, all right. Or, when I was younger, because I grew up in the 90s, I'm a 90s baby, and go look it up in the dictionary. Oh, mom, what does that mean? Oh, go look it up I was a curious kid, but I was also quite the talker. And so my mom would say, I would get in trouble and I would have to write. My mom would make me write on like the front and the back page. I would have to write sentences. I hated writing, but it became so much a part of myself. But books is where, yeah, I find so much knowledge. I went to school, went to college. I'm college educated, but even outside of college, to continue that education, it's been through reading, not even just for education, but entertainment and like relaxing. The last thing that I do before I close my eyes, other than say a prayer, is I'm going to read a book. I'm going to unwind and I'm going to have a book in hand, or I'm going to be listening to an audiobook. It's just a part of me. And being a publisher, it's like, I'm fairly new, although I have been in business for 4 years. I've been in the publishing industry for 8. There's still so much that I don't know. And I find myself looking up information online, or I'm a part of, it's called Independent Book Publishers Association. I'm a part of that platform. And just connecting with other publishers, other like-minded individuals, and reading books from them and learning. It's a constant learning. And it's like, the more that I know, it's like I can see an increase in my finances. If I don't know something, it kind of shows up in my bank account like, okay, wait a minute, I'm missing something, right? It's a resource. And a lot of times it's the knowledge, and that knowledge a lot of times can be found in a book. And so it's just so beneficial just for my whole life.
So here's something I want to break down. Going from author to publisher, was that a difficult leap? And can you do that as an independent author? Were you an independent author? Have you published through other publishing houses? And are authors still considered independent authors if they publish through you? So that's like a packed question. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, so I got started, one of my family members who as little girls, we were so competitive with each other. Now as an adult, we don't really get along. Right now, we're not really speaking. But she was one of the reasons. Yeah, I know. It's something. But she was one of the reasons. She asked me 4 years ago. She said, hey, I have an idea for a book. She knew I had worked for a publisher for a little while. And she said, would you help me publish this book? And I said, yeah, sure. In theory, I knew how to do it. I knew the steps and stuff. And so I said, yeah, sure. But her book was not done written. And so I was like, well, I have a couple of book ideas of my own. I said, let me try it out first, because also another principle that I lead with is lead by example. I'm going to try it first before I tell somebody else how to do it, or before I do it for somebody else. And so I was like, before her book came out in December 2018. Before her book came out, I had published 4 books of my own. I was like, oh, hell yeah. First of all, after I published the first one, I was like, oh God, this is it. This is it for me. Like, how can I do this for the rest of my days? Like, I loved it so much. And it was so weird for me, because I thought, I don't know too many Black women who like to write and publish books. Like, this feeling is odd, because I just didn't know it existed. I had never really met anybody other than the publisher that I had worked for. But even then, we didn't have that kind of relationship where she told me how much she loved publishing books. And so I was an author, but I also was an author like who knew that I would be a publisher working with other people, because after I had published my cousin's book, and I had shared that, hey, I'm an author publisher, more people started coming to me and saying, hey, will you help me publish my stuff? Yeah, let me. And I just loved it. And so for a long time, I don't even know if I want to say this, I was publishing books for like $100 just because I wanted to publish, just because I just wanted to do it, just because I loved it so much. Now, yesterday's price is not today's price. I'm no longer doing that for $100. Don't hit me up in the DMs asking for that offer. It's non-existent. But and so that's how I got into it. And I think it's very possible for someone who is an author to take that next step, maybe, to becoming a publisher, because all you really have to know how to do is the process. Now, whether you're skilled at, designing book covers or illustrating or those technical aspects, that's a whole nother thing. And so when you're a publisher, right now I know how to do each of those things. Although I do outsource for like book covers, I outsource sometimes when my plate is full for book formatting. And so knowing how to manage is a key skill that you have to have as a publisher. You have to have, you have to be able to see the bigger picture. And then you also have to be able to work with people. I want to say a lot of the authors that I work with, and even myself, we struggle with a little bit of imposter syndrome. Like, oh man, I have this story, but I'm not. What? If you don't, what? It just makes me like, let me bring it down. It just makes me feel some kind of way, because why would you have this story in your mind? Why would you even be entertaining the idea of putting it into a book if it's not going to be something that someone else that you just don't know? You haven't lived long enough to know the impact of your work. You just have to put it out there and release it and let it go. And whatever comes your way, and that's okay. A lot of times people say, well, I don't want that 1-star review. I want people to like it. Listen, you're a language artist. I tell people you're a language artist. And what that means is your word art, the way that you craft your words and you put them together on a piece of paper and you put it out there, you're gonna invoke somebody's emotions, whether it's good or bad, or they don't feel any kind of way about it and they decided they're going to write a 1-star review. Listen, you better celebrate, because I'm going to celebrate for you, because you know what? It took courage to even get to that point. A lot of people will not ever share their story, whether verbally or written, because of fear of judgment. When you put your story out there, you're saying, hey, you can judge me, and I'm opening up myself to that. And be ready for it, because it might come. And then again, it might not. And that's so exciting. But, it's kind of like, however it goes is, you just got to release it. And so I think that as a publisher, it's important to have those skills. And a lot of times I see publishers burn out because they don't know how to manage their own emotions along with their author's emotions, because it can be a lot. It can be a lot. But I think that when you stay rooted in that positive mindset, it's helpful. It's really helpful for others. And you can then say, hey, it's okay. And then I think your other question was, are my authors still considered independent authors? Yes, they are. There's a clause, I can share this. There's a clause in my contract with my authors that says this is non-exclusive, meaning, while I'm going to be promoting and publishing your work and distributing your work, you still maintain the rights to your stuff. You can still go ahead and self-publish. Although I have the rights to this book cover, I have the rights to this, I have the rights to these different things. If you want to go ahead and publish a second or third edition or whatever of your book, do that. It's your work. You have complete control. So my business would be considered, my publishing company is a hybrid publisher. So that means people do pay me up front to publish their work. And I know that there's this frame of mind that's been going so strong for so long, saying that you should not pay to publish your work. Well, you need to know your options, and you need to be informed about what your different options are. Yes, there are vanity publishers who will take your money, publish your work, and that's it. Okay, and that's it. I am not that person. I care a whole lot about my reputation. My business is named after my family, right? And so not only would it bring shame to me, but it would bring shame to my last name if I was to just be that kind of person who just takes people money and run and not do what they say that they're going to do. You're not going to get that when you're working with One Publications. I'm going to do my best to follow through and do what I say that I'm going to do. And I'm my author's biggest fan, right? I'm not just going to be publishing anything just because I want the money. But it's too much work to just be publishing. I'm actually my author's biggest fans. And so I want to say in this coming season, you'll be able to see that more. My authors say, hey, thank you so much for pushing me and for helping me turn up the volume of the message that's what's in my book. and that's just what I mean, that's just what I want to do. That's what I enjoy doing. And so yeah, they're still independent authors. I tell them that, you know, I am the expert on their team. They are welcome to come to me with any questions. And I just answer them. And so yeah, I think I answered all your questions.
You did. One of the things I wanted to interject on, because you said so many things, and I know for me, everybody's path is different. So I definitely want to again let you guys know I'm on here today. If you didn't know, we're with Miss Wen. She is a publisher, an author, a mompreneur. There's so many things that she has to offer. And if you are looking to publish a book and get help, of course you can come to me, but she's definitely probably going to be a great resource. I specialize in children's books. That's kind of the realm I like to stay in. However, she is going to do, I believe, all of it and be able to help you with tons of different things. And she probably has more time than me. So, because I am booked, I cannot take any more clients right now. But she is open and she can definitely help you. So please, please reach out. So here's some things that I wanted to touch on for everyone, and we can do, you guys, you know, I do a live on everything. We can talk about this later again. Number one, some of the things that also comes along with being a publisher and working with people is helping to manage their expectations. I think I learned very quickly. So I have there she go, momming. So so
It's snack time.
I actually am doing two different businesses, and the thing that I've learned that helped me along with this book selling and book publishing journey is that I am a regional marketing director, and I specialize in both marketing, branding, and sales as a person. So publishing a book for me was great for a lot of things, but most of the time when people jump on and they become a they have a book they want to publish, they have this thought in their mind to be number one, a bestseller, and they don't know the levels of that. They have an idea in this mind that when they publish this book, you give it a month or so and they're just going to be raking in the money. And I will tell everybody, any of those things are possible on this green earth. However, the amount of effort to match the return that you want is where we need to define what you want to do. What are you willing to give? Because there's so many people who want to sell a book, but they haven't determined the cost they want to spend per sale. And that's where I specialize, again, marketing, branding. I mean, that's my thing. So I do have clients that I help with the taking their ideas from paper to publish. But most of the time, you can either pay me to give you the rundown of how it's going to go, or I can do it for you. And that's costly because of how much time it's going to take me out of the things that I'm also doing in other areas. But I also need to help you understand how this works, because some of the issues that you're going to spend a lot of time on as a publisher with people, if their expectations are not managed, are revisions. Revisions can be expensive. So when you come, and I'm a very straightforward person because I've been doing business for a long time. So I try to tell people up front, and when I hear some of the other publishers and people that I have, their biggest qualm is they've got this person and they've got unlimited revisions. And so they come up with a story. You tell them they're going to get into print. And for me, specializing in children's book, we start to get the illustration going. And they're like, hey, we need to put a part in about this, but the illustration amount that you ordered does not fit this new edit you want to act that hasn't been edited. Do you see? So managing expectations is going to be able to save you time, money, and make sure that people know that is writing a book worth the investment for you based on what it's going to take to get the return you want at the time frame you're asking for. So these are definitely some areas that you want to touch on. And so having a publisher like Miss Wen is going to be awesome, because from what I've seen, from watching her, she's going to hold your hand through all of that. I'm going to touch it. I'm not going to hold it. I'm going to tell you as an adult, here's what we're going to do. This is what you're going to be able to. And I'm very honest. I'm firm, but I'm realistic, because again, I'm not going to waste your time, my time, because again, all of this costs money. So I really want people to understand, when you still have people who are out here willing to take you step by step, like it sounds like she is, hold your hand, tell you, hey, I'm going to encourage you, and then take on a lot of help with, I guess, with future sales or whatever the case may be. She's going to go into that later. That is a huge jewel and value. I want you guys to understand that, because everybody won't do that. And I learned early in my own career, I couldn't even do it for myself to that degree. So I had to change what I do for people who I do actually take on as a client and publish with. So I wanted to highlight those things for you. However, on the flip side, I do want to tell you guys why this is important. Most of the money that I make, when I make a good amount of money for my books, are not coming from online sales. And I want to tell y'all that. Most of my money comes, and it comes in a good amount, in person. So for me, one of the things that she said, but I want to really highlight on why write a book financially, books are people's way to say thank you for who you are. You want to give people monetary ways to thank you for who you are. And that is what your book is going to do. So because I'm a person that I speak and we give a lot of value when we talk, and if you know me, you follow me, you understand that's big to me. I'm going to show up now, because I'm also a children's book publisher, talk about certain things that the fact that I've published 4 books is going to get me in the door. Then I'm going to make sure that I'm aligning myself with people that are aligned with what my brand is. I'm going to talk and I'm going to give them a lot of value. And they're going to say, how much do I have to pay you to speak? I'm going to give them a lower cost. And I say, but the other half is I need to be able to bring all of my books with me at full cost. I'll sign and each person is going to pay me. If I bring 30 books with me to a place and I'm charging anywhere from $15 for a signed copy to $20 a piece, do you see how much I made in person on top of being paid to show up? And that book allows me to do that. And then they spread the word about me, talk about me to other people. I get more gigs. I sell more books. And in between, people may buy online. Do you guys see what happened there? But that book becomes a stream of revenue for me. And people can find me anywhere all over the world. But they definitely pay me more when I'm in person. And those books give me the ability to do that. So please, 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 if you're going to write a book, make sure you have a message as a person. I'm jumping ahead. We're going to talk about that later, because the book becomes the thank you for the message that you're delivering, for the value that you're getting, and you bring that home in person. Follow me? So I wanted to share that a little bit. So we're going to get back to Miss Wynn, because this is not my interview, but I wanted to
No,
make
girl,
sure.
let me hang out. Can I add my 2 cents to that? That's
Well, go
so
ahead.
good. And I feel like it needs to be said, because I think what people don't realize, you might be thinking, oh, I just want to put out a book, but it can lead to more opportunities if you want to. And sometimes even if you don't want to, like even if you don't want to, somebody might reach out to you and say, hey, I seen that you have a book on mental health. You know, I had a friend who published a children's book on mental health, sold 3,000 copies in the last year. She's now a speaker. I mean, she's also a therapist and stuff. And so she's now a speaker, and she's like, I never intended for this to happen to me this way, all because of this book that I took however many months, however much time to put together one time. You only got to write a book really once. If you want to keep going, you can, but you can do it once and get those copies, like you said, maybe 30 copies, and take them with you, whether it be a speaking engagement. Right now it's the summertime. I know that there's a lot of pop-up shops, markets in the Black community. We're already planning Juneteenth events. Tap in with the people in your local community and become a vendor. Get you a vendor booth, spend a little money on a vendor booth, order some author copies of your book and sell them and get in front of people and make a little bit of money this summer or whenever. And it just opens up so many opportunities. Speaking, vending, shoot, you could even put quotes on t-shirts, all types of stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, there's so much you can do with a book. Is bananas. I think more people need to do it. It's bananas. It really is. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's where, because I want people to get their mind focused. Because one of the things that somebody said that really stuck with me, because I'm trying to get people to get that, is people find out when they want to join so bad the music business, that the music business is so much more business than music, and it freaks them out. And that's when it hit me. I was like, it is the same thing with books. It is
Yeah.
ultimately the same thing with anything that is an entertainment or product that is going to be sold to someone. Realize that the actual cost that it's going to take you from when you begin with the bright eye of just wanting to produce a book to at the end, you're like, this thing better sell because of how much money you put into it. You're going to learn that it is not necessarily the product itself that the money's going to come from. It is the doors that it is going to open, and you having to walk up to those doors and locate the doors are the next set of work, which is what marketing and sales and branding is. Locating the doors that are for you to open up the floodgates for the money that you want. And that is going to happen from vision. So one of the things that I tell anybody I'm working with, and for me, like she was saying, her requirements for working with somebody, I'm not going to work with somebody who just wants to put a book out there. The book must have a vision so that I can help you understand this is the direction that we're headed. This is where we're going to make our sales. This is how your pitch needs to come off out the gate. This is where your value is. So those are the things that for us as authors, publishers, anybody who's trying to help you, we're trying to get you guys to see is you have to have a mindset and a direction, because just like they tell you, if you aim for nothing, you are bound to hit it. So when you come on here and you say, I just wanted to put a book out there, I just want to publish it, as long as that's all you want to do, that's probably all you're going to do. So please look at that closely. But again, so back to you. You're going to tell us some more stuff. Talk to us a little bit about, now that I'm with you, I'm with Win Publishing. And I say that, what does my process look like? Is that based on me? How long does that take? Or is that something you tell me up front? How does any of that work?
Yeah, so that's something that I tell the authors that I work with during just our initial meeting is, okay, where do you stand financially? Because first I got to get paid before your book is published, okay? Because in the past I've made that mistake of publishing a book and then, where does the author go? Where does the author go? Their book is not selling. And I'm not getting paid. And so that's something I want to say really recent, like within this last year, I said, you know what, I've got to get paid before this book gets published. And so sometimes people's financial stance is different. I have some authors who can wire me the money the same day that they decide that they want to work with me. And then I have authors who need to make several payments for the year before we can get their book out. And so sometimes it's based on that. And then it's based on the process. I would say at least 3 to 6 months. And it doesn't take that long. If you're someone who self-published a book, you're saying, it only really took me a week, or it only really, yeah, but that marketing piece, right? Have you created marketing materials? Have you sent out, have you considered sending out advanced reader copies? And this is something that I go back and forth with my authors. Hey, do you want to do this? Or do you not want to do this? Well, okay, if we don't do this, that means when your book comes out, then that's when we're going to be heavy with the marketing. And so the authors that I work with, I give them, the control is like 50-50. Like I said, I'm the expert on the team, so I'm going to tell you what you need to know and allow you the power to make those choices. And like you said, give you what you can expect. Okay, well, this is, when you make this decision, this is what you can probably expect on this end. Or if we decide to do this, this is what we can expect on this end. But a lot of times, if it's going to take us 3 to 6 months or a year, we're working on the marketing part of it. We're looking for readers who will be on standby, so that way when that book drops, they're already headed to Amazon or wherever the book is being distributed to write a review. Once you get like 50, or it might be between 30 and 60 reviews on Amazon, your book just starts to show up in the syndicated feeds, in the syndicated, feed in the syndicated feed as a book recommendation. You want to be there. That is free marketing. You want to be there. But let's say you sell 100 books on Amazon. That doesn't mean 100 people are going to leave you a review. And so it's like, what's your process? And so I go through that process with the authors. Each time it looks a little bit different from from one another, but we do sit down and we go through and we say, hey, okay, if you're someone who is interested in making money, if you're interested in seeing a return on this investment, because it is a financial investment, but you're also going to have to invest time. We go over that and we say, okay, it cost you $3,600 to publish a book with me. How many books do you need to sell to make that money back? Each author is different. Sometimes it's 500 books. Can you comfortably sell 500 books? I don't know. Yeah, you can. This is a strategy. We can do this, but it boils down to, are you willing to put in the work? Miss Wynn, I don't know. I don't really got a lot of time. I got a 9 to 5. Yeah, you got a 9 to 5, but what are you doing on the weekend? What are you doing when you get off of work? Can you jump on an Instagram live with me once a week or once a month? Or can you get in front of your community? I'm someone who, over time, I figured out that I like to work with community leaders, because a community leader is going to be someone who might have a 9 to 5, but they're going to volunteer somewhere. They're going to get active in their community somewhere. They have a message, whether they're sharing their message just on Instagram, whatever. They're doing something to not only uplift themselves, but uplift their community. And their book goes so much further when they're already invested in their community.
I have to jump in. So y'all know she done hit my hot button. She has figured out her what? She has figured out her target market. She has figured out who works and gets her the best return on what she does. And now she knows where to go. This, if you guys didn't hear anything else, this is where I love to live. Where is your target market? One of the things that I want to share, and if you look at my page, I tell everybody I'm super transparent. I'm a new kid on the block for sure. Just got here. Definitely getting my returns on what I want to do. But again, I tell you that I specialize in marketing, sales, and branding, in addition to being an author and a writer. So because I can do that, I knew what hot button to do. I had a plan from the beginning. And I help other people get there. But the biggest thing that I want to tell you is that these leaps and bounds that we're taking happen once we figure out who we want to attract based on how much they want to bring us. This is why I ask you guys, please don't get on here focused on your followers. The followers are going to come, and that's awesome. But those are more so spectators who want to say, hey, I heard you did something great. I'm trying to see. Most of those people are going to say, I can't even afford, nor do I really want to pay you for the value that you're giving. I'm trying to see. Your goal is to attract the people who have the money that you want them to spend and don't have the know-how that you have, and you want to marry those things at top dollar. That is what we're on here doing. This is where your target market comes in. Hopefully you guys heard me just now. You understand what I'm saying. And eventually I'm going to come out with my second company you're about to see, and I'll help y'all do that better. But at the end of the day, this is what she is about. This is what she's telling you. You got to figure out who's going to buy your book the most. If you're on here thinking to yourself, I want to sell a bunch of books and I'm trying to sell them to a bunch of different people, you're going to find that it's slow. But when you find an area where you're like, hey, these are areas where I can go and sell a bunch of books at once. Here are those type of resources. And then you start to think along the lines of, how do I attract them? Now you're on your way to wealth. Now you're on the way to where you want to be. And I always try to tell people the difference between the wealthy life you live and where you're at now lies in 3 things. Where you put your leisure time, okay, your day-to-day habits, and your mindset towards what you think you can do. You control those 3 things, and you're going to be able to go forward. And the way that you do that is you find experts in whatever it is you're trying to do, like Miss Wynn, to help you with the mindset. She's going to tell you, hey, this is what you should be doing on a day-to-day. And when you have leisure time, here's some other things that you can be doing, okay? Go ahead, Miss Wynn. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to make sure I gave you.
No, girl, that was it. That was it. I could talk about it for hours. But I think, people get caught up on this financial piece, and there's so many ways to finance your dream. There's so many ways. I know a lot of people don't like to dip into their credit if they don't got good credit. Listen, earlier you said, I think we said something about, can you start a business as an independent author, you can, and you actually can get funding. You actually can get funding for it. I've had authors who have taken out personal loans to fund their book. But, and I will tell you, those specific authors are the ones who work their ass off. Excuse my language, but I gotta say it like that. They work their ass off because they have to make those, they have to pay that loan back.
Miss Wynn, we are a children's book company.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I want you to feel me. I want you to feel me. Yeah.
You're good. Go ahead.
And so, but they work so hard, not only because they have to pay that back, but what ends up happening is because of the level of effort that they put in, they get those speaking gigs. They show up in different magazines. They have opportunities that come to them because they are showing up. A lot of times people, I don't know if we're scared. Like I said, it's a mental thing. It's a mental thing a lot of times that we have to get past. You know, I tell my authors, think about where do you want to be in a year from now? Oh, I want to be a New York Times bestseller. That's great, but did you know you have to sell about 5,000 copies of your book? Or you have to be, I mean, I feel like some people pay out. Anyways, you gotta do the work. It's a lot of work. But if you're already struggling with, man, I don't know if my story's good enough, we got to get over one obstacle at a time. And that obstacle might be mental, it might be financial, it might be spiritual, it might be something, but we got to get past that first in order to get down the way.
And again, and I just have been terrible as an interviewer. I see this, but one of the things I want to say to help piggyback on her is people worry about the story, right? Should the story be good? Yes. And if you're working with a good publisher or person, we're gonna be honest with you and tell you this needs some juice. Okay, we'll get you past that. But once we get you past the fact that we publish it and we say this is good to go out there. Number one, don't hire us if you're gonna question us and our belief in you. That I don't have that type of time. Okay. Yeah. So if you ask me to come and do this and I'm telling you it's worth it and we have gotten this, trust me enough to know that I'm telling you the truth. Two, the next thing is most people are going to purchase from you, again, as a thank you for the value that you give and because of who you are. And to be fair, they may never read the book depending on what it is and how long it is. And I'm being honest. I'm just being real. But we don't, at the end of the day, that's not your job. Like when I go and I quote and I pay the city for my water, they don't care if I ever turn it on. They just want to make sure that it's set up and that I'm paying for the service, or at any point I want to turn it on, it's on. It's the same thing when you're selling books to people. You're going to go out, you're going to present yourself, you're going to present your brand, you're going to convince them of what you are a resource for and what things that your book helps them do. They can read it or not read it, that's up to them, but they need to buy it. And the reason why they buy it is because of you. And then for those who actually read it, because it's only going to be out of the people who buy it, a certain amount of people who actually read it are going to say, hey, it's awesome. And more people are going to do what? They're going to buy it. This is the same thing of how it works with gyms. I told everybody one thing that I would kill anybody for a while was to try to take my gym membership from Planet Fitness from me. I did not go to Planet Fitness for a year, but no matter how many times we looked at finances and it was time to decide of what we're cutting, I would not cut Planet Fitness. I liked what it stood for. I liked the idea that I had the option to go. They had sold me as a client as far as being there and not being intimidated. No gym intimidation. I knew the names. Do you see what I'm saying? So I wanted to be a part of that. So I was going to pay my money every month. This is the same thing when you create fans. If you have a brand with your book, don't worry so much about whether this is good enough. Once you put that information out that we've done that, now how do we bring them in? What is the value you're creating? And give them reason to say thank you. And the way they do that, they said, I love her so much. I love what she stands for. How can I support her? All she's asking me to do is buy her book for $11.99, for $19.99. I can do that. She's convinced me with what she's saying and how she lives and what she does that I can do that. Start to focus more on, once you've put the story out there, it's done. How do you attract people to it? Okay. Believe in that. Be a resource for that. And that book's going to create merch for you. It's going to create multiple streams of income. It's going to open up doors for people because of the message in the book. Do you see what I'm saying? So please, please, please don't get caught up on the small things. But that's it.
Yeah. Amen.
So talk to me about being a mompreneur. You're doing all these things. How do you mommy while doing that?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. No, honestly, I try to include my daughter in as much as possible.
Awesome.
As you see, she's free to come in. As much as I tell her, hold on, Mom, I just want a snack. Okay, all right, go get it. So she's very independent. She's 7 years old, by the way. And so she's, I guess the way that I've structured my household is there's snacks that she's welcome to go, and they're her level. So she go get you a snack. She knows how to make a sandwich, just because I'm also a single mom. And so it's like, it's just her and I, you know what I mean? And so I have set it up in my home to where we have rules. Hey, if you need something and I don't have to be involved, if you can do it yourself, go do it yourself. Just let me know. Okay, keep me informed about what's going on. Do not harm yourself. I know she's safe in the other room right now on a device, and that's okay. We are driven by devices. I have a whole computer and stuff over here that it's out of we are driven by devices. I said, you know what, God, I hope one day she might be a video game creator. She might be the next Netflix movie creator, whatever. I hope that these devices pay off in a good way. But that's just how we roll right now. You know what I mean? Is knowing what I can do and doing that the best that I can. I know that, when I need my time, hey, I set up a timer maybe for an hour, and I will tell her, hey, I need an hour to myself. Please do not come interrupt. When the alarm goes off, I'll be right with you. While I'm having my time, these are the rules. Do not answer the door. Do not answer the phone. Do not be on YouTube. Turn on Disney Plus, because when you're on YouTube, the whole YouTube is a whole nother ball game. Okay. So be on Disney Plus, and we're done. But for the most part, she wants to be involved. The other night I was working on something and she came in my room. Mom, what are you working on? Oh, is that a book? She knows I publish books. She knows that I write books. She's working on a children's book herself. It's written. But my thing was, and people who know me know that I can be so picky, especially when it comes to my own folks. Okay, this is my child. I'm not just working with any illustrator. And so that's been the problem. If my child's name is going on this, I need the illustrations to be top notch. And I'm paying you. Come on now. We're not playing games. And so the mama bear in me comes out. I can be very nice, but when we're talking about my kid, we're not with the BS. Okay. We're not going to go there. And so, but also my child's very artistic. She loves to paint. And our story with that is I'm a single mom. When I first had my daughter, it's going to be 8 years ago in June. When I had her 8 years ago, I didn't have a lot of money. And so I said, so she had some toys, but mostly she had paints. We would go to like a Dollar Tree or Family Dollar and spend $5 on the little paint kits, the little art craft kits, and she would paint. So she's been painting since she could hold a paintbrush in her hand. Now at 7 years old, this girl is the bomb. What? I said, girl, what? I'm going to pay you to paint your own illustrations for your book. And she's so excited about it. I said that would be something that we would start working on this weekend. We already have the text. My strength is in book formatting. We already know how the design is going to look. Now I'm going to give it to her and say, hey, this is the vision that I have for your book. Can you paint this for me? Can we do this together? And it's going to be, and we'll work it out. But that's how I include her in my businesses. I see where she's very skilled. She's so kind. She's the sweetest kid that you will ever meet. And some people say that's due to me. I take partial credit for that because I can be the B word. Okay, I can. But my kid is so kind and she's so forgiving and loving. And she'll tell me, Mom, we have to be nice. We gotta, all right, Gia, you right. You right. Okay, we have to be kind. And for the last 3 years, she's won the kindness award at school. And so her book will be about how do you be kind, even when you don't want to be. How do you be kind but also maintain your identity? And so that's kind of what the book is about for kids her age, because even when I grew up in California, there was only 5 Black kids in the whole school. Okay. And it's very similar to where she goes to school. There might be 3, 4 Black kids that walk around there. And so kindness, when it comes to race and stuff like that, is it's touching for me, right? In my experience. And she might not even realize that yet. But, and so we talk about differences. You can be kind to someone who's different from you, from someone who looks different from you, from someone who has a different spiritual belief, from someone who, just those things. And so the book talks about that a little bit, but also my background is also, I have a background of marriage and family therapy. So it includes a lot. It includes a lot of, I want to say, like, subliminals. Parents will get it. Okay. If you're able to see between the words, you will get it. But as a child, you're thinking, oh, this is cute, especially the little illustrations. The illustrations going to be so cute, everything. But the storyline behind it, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You'll get, y'all will see, y'all will follow me, and we will share about it and it's just the beginning, and she's so excited about it. I'll say this last thing because I could talk about being a mom all day long. But one thing is, when I moved here to Texas, one of my girlfriends, she's an author, and I've published her book, and she's also a teacher. When I tell you I want to work with community leaders, okay? So she's also a teacher at her school. And so my daughter goes to the same school that she teaches at. My daughter walked into her classroom day one as a new kid at this school and seeing my friend's book. My daughter knew that I had published that book. And she said, oh my God, that's my mom's book. And everybody was like, what? And she was like, my mom's a publisher. And she went and was like telling the kids about the book. And I thought, oh my God. And my friend was telling me, she said, yeah, she just was so proud to see that my book was in this classroom. And I thought, yeah, that's the legacy that I want to leave behind. I want my child to be so proud of the work that her mama does. She gets to meet with these children's authors. And she just eats it up. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Because like I said earlier, being a single mom, we didn't have a lot of, even now, we don't really got it like that. So we would go to the library and spend hours in the library reading books. And so now being on that other end of the spectrum where we not only get to read books, but we get to write them and we get to publish them and we get to illustrate them. Man, it's big. It's bigger than I could ever put words to.
Do you, so here's my question. With you being an author and a publisher, did she automatically have a natural love for reading, or was that something you had to create? Where do you think that is?
I want to say it's something that I had to create. But I also want to say I didn't really have poverty, right? It's hard for me to say that word because I think a lot of us, even myself, struggle with thinking that that's where we were or are at some point. Poverty will make you have to be creative, or it will make you want to do things to step outside of the present realm of we don't have a lot. So we went to the library. This wasn't something that I thought maybe was a choice. We went to the library because mom doesn't have a lot of money to go to Disneyland, or we don't have a whole lot of money to go to the movies, or we don't have a lot of money to go to Chuck E. Cheese every weekend. So the library was free, and paint only cost $1 at the Dollar Tree. So these were things that we did because it was cheap. And so it was like, I know I could go to the library and read books for free. And so it was just kind of like that was her environment, and that was my environment. Awesome. But this is the way that it's played out, and it's been a blessing to us later on here today. It's been such a blessing. And so it's just been kind of the way that I've nurtured her, the way that I've created that environment for her, whether I wanted to or not, that was what we had. And so I just did the best with what we had. And so, and even when she started getting older, and even now, one of the things that I will tell people is do not get her a card for her birthday, because what we going to do with that card is put it in the trash. Okay? We're going to put that card in the trash. So maybe get her a book, because we will keep that book. The book will go on her bookshelf. And when it comes time for bedtime, we might read that book. Or whenever she has her free time, like right now, if she wasn't on the device, she would be reading a book or she would be drawing. And so those are the things that now it's almost like second nature for her to pick up a book, because her mom was brutally honest and said, yo, that card for Christmas is in a trash. We don't know what she said. We did not keep it. Okay. So, but the book, we keep it. We still have all of her books. Yeah.
So is it fair to say that her attitude toward learning is positive, just learning in general, her behavior in school? How do you think all of this correlates?
I would say it's positive, because of, people say, is it nature? Is it nurture? I want to say it's nurture. I don't ever think I have never told my child as a way of punishment, go read a book, turn that device off and go read a book. No. No, it's an option, or she'll see me reading a book and I'll say, hey, come on in, get your book, and we can sit here and have reading time. And so it's definitely a positive. And even for homework, she knows, Mom, I have my work. You want to come get your chair and pull up next to me and get your classwork out? And so we do it together. And so that's what I meant earlier. Like when I get her involved, like when I'm working, sometimes if she has homework to do, it's work time. It's work study. In college, they call it work study time. That's what we're doing here in the household. We are working together, and it's not good or bad. This is just what we do. It's just, a long time ago, I had a therapist tell me, it is what you make it. Your child is going to believe whatever it is that you say it is. And so if you feel like something is negative, it will be negative to your child as well. If you feel like something's positive, it will be positive to your child as well. For example, like being a single mom, we've had conversations about her father. We've had conversations about the makeup of families. And I said, well, some households have one mom. Some households have one dad. Some households have two moms, believe it or not. Some households have two dads. And that's just the world we live in. It's not good or bad. It just is. And sometimes that's just life. It's not good or bad. It just is. And this is where we are. We can dream about having a father in the home and what that would look like. And we can pray about it. And we can, have those things and dream about it and write about it. But as of today, this is where we are. And that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. And that's how she thinks about it too, and I will ask her, we'll check in, especially around her birthday, because for me, it's heavy on my heart around her birthday, because I know there's just so much to that. Right. But she knows, hey, it's okay. Your dad didn't call you. Your mom's right here. It's okay. We know that man, okay, I'm going to be real transparent with you. We know that man has 10 other kids older than her. Okay, did I know that when we first got together? Heck no. No, I did not. Okay, no, I did not. But that's okay. She knows that she has brothers and sisters that are older than her. She's met a couple of them. And so that's just the life that we live. And honestly, her dad is an amazing man. She has an older brother who's also very artistic and has this little boy, can draw anything just from looking at it. And so I know that didn't come from my side of the family. My side of the family, we're writers, we're storytellers. And so that art part came from probably her dad's side of the family. And that's cool. But as long as I keep neutral about it and we can have just, hey, it's cool, neutral conversations, no kind of feeling, whatever, that's how she receives it. And that's how she internalizes it. And, that's just how I parent,
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to talk about, and I love that you touched on, is when you're a mom and you are also a business owner. Now, I am not a mom, okay? Mm-hmm. So I want to say that. But one of the things that I've learned is my mom was an entrepreneur, and the things that my mom did. My mom was really big on sales and marketing and stuff like that. And even though my initial path was to go a totally different way, as soon as I tapped into sales and marketing and things at about 18, I took off. It was in me. It was under, anytime I wanted to do certain things, I always excelled at trying to convince people, at persuasion. But this is because this is what my single mom did. This is the business that she was running. These are the things that I saw and she did. And so my interest when it came to learning or doing anything like that in school was huge. And reading was big in my family too. So learning to read and excelling in school was also something I did really well at. I say that to say, for those of us who are authors, and again, me being a children's book author, I really want parents to think about what you just said. As long as you said, as you look at something negative, it's going to potentially have a negative connotation to your little one or your fawn, like I call them. Or if you have a positive, it'll have a positive connotation to your fawn. But one other thing that I've learned as a professional auntie is, if it's important, it will be important to them too. And that's the thing, because I have my sister, on the other hand, she's not as much into reading. She was very much into it when we were growing up, but now not as much. But she wants my niece to read because that's what we grew up on. So a lot of times she gets mad and we talk and she's like, she ain't reading. I don't understand that. She's making me mad. And I'm like, okay, do you read with her at home? When she comes home, she's got to have 30 minutes of reading. She's telling me all the stuff my niece has to do. Then I ask her, has she seen you read anything? And she's like, I've got stuff to do. And I'm like, but she hasn't seen you read anything. Tell me the things that my niece thinks are important. And she lists them off when she's with her, what she thinks is important. And then I ask her, how many of those things align with what things are important to you based on her version for her level? And that's when my niece was like, my sister. I'm like, yeah. It's not that she doesn't want to, she doesn't think it's important. And you're missing the fact that of course it's important, because you grew up in a household where reading and things were what we did. And that's what my mom championed. It was important to her. We knew that if you wanted to make my mom proud, be smart. My mom did not like dumb, I can't say dumb, but she didn't like unsmart people, especially women. That was huge in my house. So me and my sister were always in competition about who knew most, who read most, who did. This is just what happened, and it trickled over into school. So my sister knows how to do it. So she's getting frustrated with my niece because she's like, she's not having this attitude, but she's an only child. You're not holding these things champion to her. Do you see what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure I touched on that. What you think is important as a parent also becomes important to them, and it becomes a part of their DNA. And then it associates from what I'm learning into how they see learning, because there's a lot of us in our community that they say, we don't pay attention, he's all over the place, he doesn't want to sit still. But when they're home, how often are they sitting still? How often are they doing the things that you want them to do in class? I can sit still in my house for hours reading a book. My attention span was a lot better because I read young. And there's so many things for us that help our children to become what we want them to become. So I just wanted to make sure I highlight anything that you think that you want your fawn to do, or your child. You want to make sure that you are exemplifying, one, how to do that, and two, that that's important to you. That seeing them succeed in that area makes you happy, not keeps you from being mad, because those are two different things. If you don't do well in school, you're going to piss me off. That's one thing. But when you say, I just love how smart you are, it makes mommy so proud every time that do you see what I'm saying? And they can feel that from your behavior, then they behave that way. So I wanted to, outside of that, talk to us a little bit about the importance of message. And this part is all you. Why is it important to you that authors have a message when they come to you, or is it important?
It's important to me because for two reasons, right? So some authors will say, Miss Wynn, it's not about the money. I just want to put this book together. Well, I'll say, well, what's the message? Like, what's the message in the book? What are you telling people? Are you doing this just to stroke your ego? Even if it's like an autobiography or a memoir, who cares? Like, why should we care about you? Why should we care about your story? Oh, well, what's the message, right? There has to be a lesson to be learned, because when it comes, like, I try to look at it from not just someone who publishes books, but someone who also reads books. And I think about, why do I read books? Yes, it's to unwind, but what's the message that I'm receiving? Because it doesn't matter what you do, what you look at, every day we're getting messages. We're picking up messages, whether we know it or not. For those that are still on here, you're receiving a message of write a book, publish it, that kind of thing. But with a message, right? And so it's like, what's your purpose? I think it's deeper than just what's the message, but like, what's your purpose? What's your point? What's your point in doing this? And if there's no point, then why do it? Then why do it? Then why? And if it's for a simple fact of saying that I'm a published author, having that title, cool. Then let me show you how to self-publish it, because it takes a whole lot of time to just put something together with no message, and you want me to help you sell it? Wait, there's no message here. So why do we want to tell people to buy this? Just to stroke your ego? I'm not interested in doing that. If you have a good message, something that you want to share, something that you think more people need to hear to help someone, because that's ultimately the bottom line, is for myself as a person, as long as I can remember, I've been, and it could be my mother, it could be the way that she raised us, always wanting to be helpful, always like thinking we should put others before us. How can we help this person? Because when I help someone else, ultimately I'm also helping myself feel good. I'm helping myself take my eyes off my own problems and consider somebody else for a little while. When I do that, and so for me, it's just being in alignment, in the right alignment. I know who I am. I know what I like to do, and I know that I do better when I'm working with people who are similar in that same mindset of, hey, I have a message. I know that this message is going to help somebody if I get it out, whether it's for profits or not. As long as you have a message and as long as you care about turning up the volume on that message, the money is going to come. But if you do not care about turning up the volume on that message, the money is not going to come. The message will not be received. The message will not be heard. And so, when I, meet with my authors and they're like, okay, how many books did we sell? Oh, well, we only sold 20 copies this month. Well, that's good. Man, your message is not being heard by the people that you want it to be heard by. So let's hit the drawing board again. What can we do? We, me and you, because you're a major part in this too, right? Because a lot of authors think, oh, well, you're a publishing company. That means I don't got to do this squat. No, baby, we're not there yet. You still got to do work. You still have to do work. This is a collaboration. I still need these things from you. And I go over that with my authors. Hey, this is what I need you to do. Are you able to do that? If not, well, like we shared earlier, these are the expectations then. But it's important to have a message, to me, for the simple fact that who can we help? And sometimes the message, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but I don't know. It matters, but it's a fine line between it, whether it matters or not, right? Because I want the message to be helpful. Mm-hmm. And that's where it is. If you're just sending a message that's not really helpful, for example, I hate to bring this up, but I just watched like 3 and 4 like clubhouses on Kevin Samuels. Okay, was his message helpful? I don't know. Some people will say yes, some people will say no. I don't. Would I have published a book by him? Probably not. And I'm gonna be honest, maybe not. And so that's the thing, what's the message? Is it gonna be helpful, and who's it gonna be helpful for?
And here's the thing. you hit on something that's common sense to me. You shouldn't be ashamed to say. We're not dealing with Kevin Samuels as a person or agreeing or disagreeing. What we're saying is
Mm,
we also, as publishing companies, are brands. And if your
yeah,
message doesn't align with our brand, it
there
doesn't
you
make
go.
sense for us to be the
Right,
resource. Do you see? Because then it
right.
shuts down your, and that is what message does. It makes it
Yeah,
clear where the vision is and what are things you can and can't do based on that. So I think that
yeah.
that is a completely valid point. If I had
Hmm.
someone who wanted to publish a book with me for kids about why reading is dumb and outdated, that's not a book I'm gonna. Do you see what?
Right,
That's against my
right,
brand.
right.
That's
Hmm.
against every. So you can't put my brand, my name, my anything on that.
Exactly.
Nor do I want to look up the resources that it's going to take to make your brand supersized. So
Hmm.
that's kind of where that works. So I think that you're perfectly fine with saying that if you didn't agree
Yeah,
with that and that didn't match your brand, then that wouldn't be an opportunity for you.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah. And
So
so, and that's why the messaging is important, right? Because what are you trying to say? And you have to know that, like I said earlier, my company is named after my last name, Wynn Publications. My last name is Wynn. Lord, my family name can't just go on everything. It's not gonna. What? My grandfather, oh my God, would be rolling in his grave. What? You put my last name on this BS? No, you didn't. You know what I mean? I can hear his voice now. It's
right.
unacceptable. And so there are standards. There are standards, and some of them are moral, and some of them, hey, there's over 100,000 publishers out there. If you don't like my morals and my standards,
Yeah.
you can go find somebody else. Or I can help you self-publish. And that's the thing, as a hybrid publisher, I don't know if I've made that clear. Not only do I work with those who want to work with a publisher, as in like have me on their team as a publishing expert, I also help self-publishing authors with a la carte services like book formatting, like consultation. Hey, Miss Wynn, I just need a sounding board. Can we meet for an hour and talk about this? Yes, I can. And that's what I can offer you. I might not be able to put my logo on the back of your book or whatever and help you market and promote and do all those things together like I do with my authors, but I can give you some resources. I can give you, my insight, my expertise. We can meet and we can talk about it, and that's fine. And I can respect your beliefs and who you are as a person, as long as you can show the same thing back and respect my beliefs and know that when we come to the table, we're talking about your book and how we can make this work for you. And so that's something that I tell my self-publishing authors is, hey, it ain't nothing personal, but let's get to business, and those that understand, they understand, and those that don't, hey, we only worked together for so long, but it's about the experience. Hey, it
Yes.
was a beautiful experience. I'm glad I got to know that person. I don't wish them
Yes.
any ill will or anything, but and that's just how we roll.
And that's it. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Miss Wynn, this has been everything I expected and more. I'm so excited that you
Yes.
joined me. Hopefully, I will continue to stay aligned and network with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for jumping on my live today. Before we go and let everyone leave, is there anything else you want to add or anything else you want to share with anyone? Just as some advice, if you could tell them anything.
Yeah, so before we go, I did want to share that this summer I will be going on what we're calling the Next Level Entrepreneur Sunbelt Tour. So I'm starting here in Texas, and I'm teaching authors everything that we just talked about, how to write and publish a book. So I'm starting here in Abilene, Texas on June 3rd. That's a Friday night from 4 to 7. I'll then be going to Los Angeles on July 1st from 4 to 7. Then I'll be going to Daytona Beach on July 22nd. And then I'll be in I'll be in Daytona Beach July 8th. And then I'll be in Atlanta on July 22nd, teaching other authors how to write and
If
publish a
you
book.
come
So,
to my city and do not
are
come
you in
and
Atlanta?
see me, yes,
Oh, okay, you better pull up. You better pull up.
yes. So
Yes.
we are definitely gonna link up. I'm very, very, very excited.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that offline. We definitely
Okay,
will
so
hug each
so
other.
check in with me if you're not follow me. Follow me. I'll be sharing more as each date gets closer. Right now I'm focusing on Texas. One of my girlfriends who I was talking about, best-selling children's book author, the name of her book is called Always Forever. We'll be teaming together, talking to other people about their publishing options. A lot of people still have this belief that traditional publishing is the only way to go. It's not. There's so many other things that you can do to get your message and your book out there, whether it be a children's book, a poetry book, a cookbook, short stories put together to form a book. We can do it, and it's just a matter of knowing how. And so that's what that's about. But also, I have just recently published an ebook called The 6 Steps of Self-Publishing, a book publishing process. It's an ebook. As soon as you purchase it, it's only $9.99. You can get it on Kindle or directly from my website, misswin.com. Do that, get that. It's very brief. It goes over the basics. I do have a couple of other self-publishing books coming out because I know so many people love to self-publish but do not have any know-how or don't know how to do it. And so I want to make sure that I'm not leaving anybody behind. And so that's the purpose of putting these books together, and offering them. But also, because I am a writer, my last thing that I will share is I also create journals. So these are hardback journals that I've put quotes on. It just says, keep moving forward and I am fearless. There's about 22 other designs with quotes on my website as well, misswin.com. And what I love about these is they are hardcover, but they come with like perforated pages. And so this is what the inside of one looks like. And so you could rip out a page, do whatever you need to do. But yeah, just keep following me. I finally also got back into like more writing. Not only do I write and share like author resources and then things for writers like myself, but I'm getting back into just my own author journey. And it's been, man, I've missed it. I've been putting other people's works and stuff like that before my own. And so to finally be back in this place that I've put myself, because it's definitely a choice. Okay, I've decided that I'm gonna do this. It's felt so good and I'm so happy. And one of my authors hit me up the other day like, Miss Wynn, you seem so happy. He said, what happened? I said, man, I'm writing again. And he said, you should have never let that go. I said, thank you so much for that, because I'm truly at my best when I'm writing just to write, not even for educational purposes. Yes, there's a message. There's always going to be a message in everything that I do, but I just enjoy it so much. And so stay tuned for some of those that I have coming out, just my own regular works of fiction. And so, yeah, that's about it.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you again so much for joining us here. I have dubbed my following the Author Love Network. I don't even know if that's a thing. I just be saying that because it's funny. But we thank you so much for coming on. And to everyone here, if you watch this whole live, I'm going to leave you with a quote from my signature character, Doe the Deer. And it says, if someone must be great, why not you? And if you plan to be great, why wait? For however is a dream to come true if it isn't put into action when you wake. Okay? You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you for joining me on here. And until next time, I will see you guys. And this has been Miss Wynn. Follow her. She's going to be all throughout the comments on this post when you see this live. And if this live was helpful, obviously, only thing I need you to do to support me is put a bunch of bows in the comments. Please, 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 so that I know that this message was received. You can leave a comment, which would be great. But if you don't do anything else, like it and leave a bunch of bows in the comment for me, okay? Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.